Hi everyone, my name is Esmat and I grew up in Afghanistan. Currently, I am studying for my Masters in Climate Change and International Development at University of East Anglia under the most prestigious Chevening Scholarship in the UK. I am a climate activist who wants to expand understanding of the climate crisis, and I ultimately seek global climate justice. People do ask me what climate justice actually means. Well, I don't find it easy to answer because I think it's much broader and more complex than we initially think. But if I had to summarize it, I would say that there is climate justice when a citizen does not have to leave his home due to flooding. There is climate justice when someone must not leave his village due to drought and water scarcity. And there is climate justice when a child need not work for a single piece of bread and can instead go to school. Science has proven that human-induced climate change threatens humanity and our Earth systems. Global warming is happening, and it's not just bad, it's much more catastrophic than we assume. And yet, why are our politicians not acting on this reality? If the climate emergency escalates, we know it will be the vulnerable communities at the forefront of feeling the most adverse impact of climate change. If the current system does not change and the priority of leaders doesn't shift and address this, then the vulnerability of money in developing countries will rise significantly. The system is not fair. Only the lucky few are getting opportunities for better living standards. The system must change, not the climate. Social justice is an national process to reach climate justice. Lots of injustice and inequalities are currently ongoing in my homeland, Afghanistan. I hereby would like to share a personal encounter from my own life. In 2018, on a Friday evening, I met a 10-year-old child called Nurgul, who was polishing shoes on the street in return for a piece of bread. In our conversation, he mentioned that he was displaced from his city due to drought in his province. They left their home due to water scarcity. They had lost their livestock due to lack of water. They could not irrigate their land because of yet another and yet a longer dry season. Well, do you know what was the most emotional part of our conversation? It was when he said that he wished he could read. He wished he could go to school to learn to better his life. Now that he was relocated to Kabul as a local immigrant, at the age of 7, he could not go to school. He must work to feed his family, to help his paralyzed father affected by the civil war. He works only to survive, and his future prospects are unlikely to change. But there are thousands like Nurgul. There are thousands leaving their homes due to flooding, natural hazards, and extreme poverty. Despite all these injustices, Afghanistan receives less and less attention regarding climate finance and adaptation to enhance community resilience toward climate risk. We can no longer ignore the climate crisis. We are all responsible for the welfare of current and future generations. The crisis must be stopped by cutting emissions in industrialized countries and providing climate adaptation to the most vulnerable communities. In the end, I would say that we, the youth, are not only victims of climate change, but that we have the potential to be a valuable contributor to climate action. We can be the agent of change. We can be the entrepreneurs. We can be the innovators to come up with solutions. That's why I am so grateful and proud to work hard during my time here as a Chevening scholar. We can and we must stand together for the better future, accelerating climate action through education, science and technology. And we must not stop raising our voices towards climate injustice globally until we get to decisive action needed from our global leaders. We will always speak up on behalf of our youth and nations and adhere to our global human rights principles. Thank you.